can you say us what you're doing right now and what were like the age, like the early stages of your career?
Okay. Thanks very much for that question. I am Israel. I am an international sports lawyer and I am a FIFA licensed agent. Currently I work with African Coaches Connect and Dare to Dream Sports Management. I am also on the National Executive Board of the Nigerian Youth Football Development League. It's a league um for footballers under the age of 18, trying to give them opportunities to get experience, under their belt, minutes under their belt, and prepare them for the realities of professional football. Currently, we are working with secondary schools, actually, at the NYFDL. In at African Coaches Connect, what we do is we are very much a, how do I say it now? At African Coaches Connect, we are very much a boutique organization. It is primarily a network of football professionals, right? So that's why when I introduce myself to people as an international sports lawyer and a FIFA licensed agent. But I work with African Coaches Connect. African Coaches Connect is not just for coaches, it is for all football professionals. Scouts are members, data analysts are members, media professionals are members, lawyers, agents, coaches, sporting directors, and all of those. So we meet to network. It is primarily an education platform. We try to educate all of these professionals on ways to get better in the industry. We also help them with their rights. We've done some advocacy in times past. We are currently working on one with a coach that was sacked without pay. In FIFA, in football is called termination of contracts without just cause. So his contract was terminated without just cause, and we are currently working on an advocacy basis for him, trying to ensure that he gets his rewards. And with Dare to Dream, what we are currently doing is we had a scouting tournament across about 12 states in Nigeria,
Mm,
right? Nigeria has 36 states plus the FCT, that's 37, but we had scouting tournaments in about 12 states. And then the best players were picked, excuse me, to play at the grand finale. The grand finale starts today, the 29th of November 2025.
mhm,
About 3,000, 4,000. I believe the right number should be about 3,500 players participated in the
mm,
tournament, right? And then the best ones were scouted, about 400 of them were scouted, and then they will be playing. Currently, they'll be playing in Lagos, Nigeria, for to be scouted by sporting directors, coaches of some football clubs in Europe and outside Europe. So it starts today. So that's the summary of what I do and what I've been doing. I also do contract negotiations, policy advisory, business advisory. I consult the most for football academies, actually. I mean, give them legal advice on what to do to start up to ensure that they get all of the benefits that they're supposed to do, and I give them advice on regulatory compliance.
Interesting. Thank you. What would you say is like one of the biggest challenge you face, like as an international lawyer, and you have also experience like in Morocco, in the UK, and now in Nigeria? What are also the differences, like working through these different environments?
The biggest challenge I face sometimes is it would be the pressure. But I worked with someone once that always told me that pressure is a privilege. So I appreciate the privilege to be under that level of pressure. Um, it's unlike back when I was in school. You knew that it was important for you to pass your grades to do well in school, but you couldn't see the real life effect of it. But and you know that the real life effect of your decisions are going to affect just you. But out here, your actions, your inactions, your inadequacies, your oversight, or just lack of preemption or whatever it is, could have an adverse effect on other people, or sometimes tens of people, hundreds of people. So you have to be sure that you're always on your A game. You have to be sure that you're always doing everything right. So the pressure is is number is I think number one. But with regards to the differences, there have not been many differences in the environments that I've worked so far. The work culture is always the same. It is gets the task done regardless of what it will take. That is number one priority. Nothing about that has changed. It hasn't changed in Morocco, hasn't changed in the United Kingdom, hasn't changed in Nigeria. Everybody wants you to get the job done. And the slight differences is just sometimes you have more resources in one organization than the other, so you have to bootstrap in some of them. But the beauty of bootstrapping is that it helps your innovation. Um, there is a saying that says, necessity is the mother of invention. So because you've had to bootstrap, you've had to do a lot of things with little resources, your creativity is and problem solving skills are super enhanced. So when you get to places where you have resources, you're able to do a lot in record time. It's just it comes naturally. So these are the slight differences in that I've experienced in the places that I've worked for, but they are more similar than different, to be honest. They are usually task oriented, result oriented. Just get the job done. It doesn't matter. No excuses. So that has been what the culture has been in the places that I've worked, and I really like bootstrapping, to be honest, because it helps me become a better version of myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. What would you say, like, looking like the people always see what happens on match day, right? How is the view behind the scenes? What are like common things people never see?
Hmm. Well, um, I've not had much to do with match day preparations, but I've had much to do with preparation for a football season. So I can tell you more about that than I can about match day preparation. But I think I will try to do both. But for match day preparation, um, not much goes on when the matches are at home. But when you have to play a match away, the first thing, of course, is the welfare of the players. You have to ensure that you have to get the logistics right, right? Their transportation. If it is in another country, for example, you have to ensure that documentation is done right. Apply for their visas. When you get their visas, you give it to them, communicate the time of movements to them, get the bus that will convey them from one place to another, book their hotels, ensure that their feeding is prepared. And that's for the players. And a whole lot of other things. When it's an away match, you have to ensure that security is um is tight. You have to ensure that order is put in place so that because matches, especially high volume matches, you're expecting spectators that are nothing less than 5,000. So you have
Mm,
to ensure that crowd control is on point. So because things can go haywire very easily, very easily. It happens a lot in Nigeria. So your crowd control has to be on point. And the people that work in crowd control in Nigeria now are super, super efficient because it's very, very difficult to control audience in places like that. And then you also have to ensure that there are no pitch invaders, security of away fans, security of players, and all of those things. And sometimes um I as an agent, for example, have to talk to my player, I have to psych him up. You're going to do great today, you're going to do well today. Da 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 da. Sometimes when their family members want to come around, you have to ensure that their families are sorted, logistics for the families are sorted as well. Just ensure that the players are focused, on the
mm,
match. So that's what I know about match day preparation. But seasonal preparation, a lot goes into preparation for the season, especially financially, because one thing that fans really realize is that football at top level, it's a business. For the fans, it's entertainment, but for those of us in the industry, it is business. It is where I get my daily bread, and it is where my employers or whoever the other people are gets their daily bread. So they have to, and what makes a business is businesses exist to make profits. So every preparation that they do at the beginning of the season or at whatever point in the season goes towards that end, right? So whatever it is, fan engagement, event organization, match organization, player purchases, player sales, recruitment, marketing, sponsorship, everything is geared towards the sole purpose of making more money for the business. So that is what all our preparations at the beginning of the season are usually about. So it's about finance, it's about accounts, it's about just getting money. So at the beginning of the season, for example, at the end of the season, right? It depends on the way the organization works, right? So there's a football club that I consult for that does their preparation 6 months ahead. So this is December, this is November now. We're about to enter December. Um, so preparations have started for next season, for the season
Mm,
that is beginning in August already. So they are beginning to identify the loopholes that the squad has, are beginning to identify targets, beginning to ensure that the targets align with the character of the team, the values of the team. Is someone that the fans will like. Then they check the marketability of the player. Then they also check, well, another thing that is usually checked when players are being analyzed ahead of the season is they check, some of them they check whether the players will be able to get, visas, working visa, work
mm,
permits, because in an example is in England, you have to have a certain number of national team appearances before you can get a work permit in England. So in the United Kingdom generally. So if a club is chasing after a player, they have to ensure that that player has none of those restrictions. So they check for inhibitions, encumbrances, basically, that will or may prevent a player from being able to be optimal. Then another thing that they now check is the financial cost. So this is something that fans do not like to hear, but when a club wants to go for a player, for example, they check their budget, check the transfer value of the player, check the wages of the player over a period of time, and they check whether it aligns with their budget. So if a player has a transfer market value of a transfer value of 10 million euros, for example, and a salary of say 25,000 euros per week. So that would mean 25,000 euros per week would mean 1 million euros per month, and it would also mean 12 million euros per year, right?
mm,
And then over a 5-year contract, 12 times 5 would mean 60 million euros, right? Plus the transfer value of 10 million euros. So altogether, the player would have like what it would cost to recruit the player would be about 70 million euros. So those are the things that the club would consider in the background when
mm,
they are trying to recruit. So those are the things that they do. Then they also ensure sometimes when the match day schedules are out, the clubs book hotels in advance in all of the places, and all of the away, well, the away stadia, very close to the away stadia. They ensure that the security is set and all of those things. So that's what preparations for a match and for a season looks like in the
mm.
background.
Interesting, very interesting. And especially like the part of the financing, I think like a lot of people they don't see that like it's a business. And at
Yeah,
the end of the season or at the end of every kind of goal, we want to have more money.
yeah,
And if we don't, we can't go further, and that's like we see in a lot of clubs, like if they are successful, they are most kindly or successful in the money part
yeah,
because you have to re-sign players, you have to invest in coaches, you have to invest in staff members, in equipment, and all these things are like crucial for a business.
yeah. And then I'm sorry, I need to crave your indulgence to add the fact that, what constitutes success for owners is different from what constitutes success from fans. So for fans, they just want to see the team win games and win trophies at all costs. But for the business owners, they want more money to come in. So, and that another thing is that with all of these things, because of the pressure sometimes that fans place on the owners try to do some things and they sometimes spend themselves to death. It is one of it is one of the things that got Portsmouth, for example, Portsmouth Football Club in England out of the top level of football. I think Olympique Lyonnais in France already also has similar issues. I think Bordeaux in France had similar issues. I think Sheffield Wednesday as well had similar issues. So it's the ghetto up there at the top level of football. It's very, very crazy because very, very competitive. It is a matter of very, very, very tiny margins as well. So with regards to, for example, the business side of things, sometimes some of these clubs do not even, operate at, they don't even make money. They don't operate, they don't get profits, right? So that is why rules like the profitability, regulations like the profitability and sustainability rules in England exist. So the main crux of the profitability and sustainability rules in England is that a football club in the Premier League must not lose more than £105 million over 3 years.
Mm,
So that means that the clubs can lose on average £35 million per year. So um what this suggests is that the EPL, the lawmakers, the regulators, the people that make the regulations know that it is a very, very huge possibility that players or the clubs will run at a loss. So it is very, very crazy. So there is that possibility and they make room for that possibility. So they permit you to lose 35 million. So clubs are running sometimes at a loss. Some of them are in the red line already. They've lost, say, 80 million, 90 million euros over 2 years. So they have to ensure that in the third year they don't exceed they are spending. That's why some of them are forced to sell their homegrown players. They are forced to cut spending, cut cost, and all of those things. It is the absolute ghetto out there. Although currently the regulations have changed, it is no longer the profitability and sustainability rules because the profitability and sustainability rules focuses more on sustaining the clubs, keeping the clubs alive,
mm,
rather than effective spending. But there is a new regulation, the squad cost ratio regulation, and that one focuses more now on revenue generation and ensuring that clubs don't overspend themselves. So that one now says that clubs cannot spend more than 85% of the revenue generated over a year on players. That's on player transfer, players, transfer fee, amortization, salaries, wages, image rights, and all of those. So that is what currently obtains because if those regulations do not exist, some clubs will keep taking loans, spend themselves, and then until the clubs don't exist anymore, it's really, really interesting and crazy to see.
mm. That's really interesting. What is your take on like Chelsea? Like I always say that like Chelsea has like this system of buying so many players and then selling them. It's like they're like business orientated like as ever.
They are probably one of, I think, after Tottenham is the most profitable team in the Premier League.
Okay.
Yeah, Tottenham is Daniel Levy did a very, very great job. I think he has left now. I think Brighton as well. Brighton Football Club, Brighton of Albion. They are doing like they are money spinners basically, buy players for cheap and sell them for tens of tens of millions of pounds, right? But Chelsea, I doff my hat for their lawyers and their finance managers, for their accountants, because and this is there is a saying that goes that I don't know if you've heard it before. I don't know if it's a Nigerian statement, right? That says that a lawyer will always go around. Sorry, a carpenter will always go around with his hammer because he sees every problem as a nail.
Mm,
Yeah. So the approach that people have to running things more often than not comes from their profession or the kind of knowledge that they have. So clearly, Todd Boehly and Clearlake are running Chelsea like a proper finance hedge fund. It's like if you're into the finance world, you hear stuff like buy the dip. They buy players when they're low, sell them when they're high, buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. And they've done a very, very great job at it. And the more beautiful part of it is that um the the they did it without particularly breaking the regulations.
Mm,
of football. So although it remains yet to be seen in the next 5, 6, 7 years, but currently they are doing it and they are getting away with it. So the system is there is a system called amortization in football finance, football accountancy. So amortization is basically accounting in installments. So if a player is what like the play, let's use the instant scenario that we used earlier, a player that's what 10 million euros. So if a player is bought for 10 million euros, right?
mm,
If his contract is over 5 years, what the accounting does is that what that does to the accounting is that his transfer fee will be paid over 5 years. So if the player
mm,
is worth 10 million euros, it's not that they pay the 10 million euros all at once. So they pay it over 5 years. So it's probably broken down into 5 installments of 2 million euros each. Right. So that means that the length of the contract of the player determines the um the number of years that will be used to pay the player's transfer fee. So if Enzo Fernandez, for example, gets a 9 year contract,
mm,
ideally, if he had signed a 4 year contract and was purchased for 100 million euros, Chelsea would have had to pay 25 million over 4 years. But if they give
mm,
him a 9 year contract, they would now have to pay about 12 million or 11 million over
mm.
9 years. So that was what they did for a lot of their players. They gave them very, very long contracts so that the length of the period of amortization would be longer and so that their account books every year can be balanced. So they pay less on transfer fee every year. So that's how they've done it. And some of the players, they buy them at cheap rates, buy them low, sell them high. As a matter of fact, according to, I think, Deloitte, is it Deloitte, yes, Chelsea has made more money from player sales, 4 times more money from player sales as Manchester United, and 2 times as Manchester City.
Mm.
So yes, so and Manchester City does quite well for player sales. They do quite well. They sold Chelsea, Sterling to Chelsea, stole Aguero Jesus to Arsenal, sold Zinchenko to Arsenal, made quite some money from Cancelo, made quite some money from James Trafford, who at the
Yeah.
time had 0 minutes in the industry, made in the Premier League, made quite some money from Cole Palmer, 40 million, and all of those. So they are actually a very, very good team when it comes to selling. But despite
Mm.
that, over the last 5 years, Chelsea has made 2 times what they have made from player sales. So they are a very, very properly run football club.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that's very interesting, like because like just lengthening the contract and then you have to spend less money over the year. And what I think like in this year, like let's say the 9 year example, when they sell the player, let's say for 10 millions more at the fourth year, they make already more money and they
Yeah,
have like again a positive balance sheet.
yeah. So that's how they do it, and that was how they did it. However, the current regulations of FIFA have prevented it. There's a regulation called the Regulation on the Status and Transfer of Players. Now, clubs can't offer players contracts of more than 5 years.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
So
5 years is like the
the
maximum
maximum.
contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
However, they also let the nations, the countries decide, right? But if you're going to participate in a FIFA competition, for example, you have to follow the regulations. So clubs like if a club in the second division of England is not participating in any FIFA competition, they're only under the English FA. So
Mm.
the FIFA regulations do not particularly apply to them. It is the regulations of the English FA that apply to them.
Ah,
So
okay, okay, I
that's it.
understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But is it also like then like for FIFA participation, like when they work when they play for World Cup, or
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
it
If
is
they, if
it
they, if they, if they, if they play in FIFA World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, it is FIFA participation.
okay?
But very few teams get to play in the FIFA Club World Cup. Very,
Yeah,
very few. Yeah.
that's true. Okay, interesting. Like, and I think like one of the Frankfurt, like Eintracht Frankfurt was also very good at selling players.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we sell Kolumuani, we got him for
yeah,
a few million for 90
yeah,
million to PSG.
yeah,
Facho also, like
yeah.
in the last year we were
Jovic,
also very good.
and
Jovic also.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's also interesting because like me, I come from Frankfurt and the city is about finance. You know, like
Oh,
there's
interesting.
like the
Yeah.
whole city is about finance, so many finance people, so many. That's why I think we have also a good like sense of like players selling and buying.
Yeah, so I think that then leans into my theory that people approach problems based on the knowledge they have. So because of that, I think that has flowed into the way the football club is run. So some fans of Frankfurt may be very, very livid every season. Why have we not won the Bundesliga? Why have we not won the German Cup or the Super Cup or whatever? But the owners of the club are happy because they are
Yeah,
making because they are making profits. So it's just interesting to see both sides of things, you know.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, interesting. Let's go a bit about to talent development, and you work as like FIFA agent. Like, how important is the mental side of the player, like when he face pressure? Like, what is your experience? So,
You see, I have I've been in the industry for 7 years, in the football industry for 7 years. I got into the industry in 2018. Although I became a lawyer last year, became a FIFA licensed agent last year too. But I've been in the industry for quite some time. One thing that I can tell you is that at top level, I mean, at the highest level of football, there is very, very little difference between the among the best players and the worst players at the top level. I mean, when it's come technically, there's very, very little difference. Okay, I think I should start from this. Um, players are players like a player. I'm not talking about a person now. Players are divided into four. I mean, their abilities here are divided into four. There is the tactical ability, there is the physical ability, that's biology, there is social ability, and then there is mental ability. So the mentality is a very, very huge part of player attributes. If a player has mental rights and has technical rights, they have almost all they need to make it at top level. But if you have everything right and you don't have the mentality, you are gone. You
mm,
are gone. It's almost impossible for you to make it. You could have everything if you have mentality and any other thing. It's very, very possible for you to, just wade your way through. Because in my opinion, mentality is just as important as ability, if not more.
mm,
If not, yeah, it is. Because so I've realized that the margins are very, very little. So the players are not particularly better than the other. You could put, if you take 10 professional footballers now, put them on a training pitch, you will see the kind of things that they can do. You find out that almost all of them can do the same things. But
yeah.
put them on a football pitch, it becomes different. That's where the gap starts to show. So it is very, very important for players to build the mental aspect of their game because um I said earlier that one of the things that has been the same for me in everywhere that I've worked is the pressure. And I see the pressure as a privilege, right? While I see the pressure as a privilege, it is something that can crumble you and crush you if it is not properly managed. And
Mm,
this is one of the beautiful things about football behind the scene. The fact that not 1 million, like 10,000 people are not watching me do my job. So nobody's watching me do my job. I just do my job in the nook and cranny of my office. They see the results. But for players, every weekday, every weekend, 60,000, 70,000 people are watching them. So every one of their mistakes are publicized to see.
yeah.
So it is very, very, very important for them that they have their mentality right. It is really, really, I think it's one of the things that they need to get straight, right? So you could be what's it now? You could be tactically and technically, physically superior to everybody else, but if you don't have the mentality, you're a goner. And then another thing about the mentality is there are things about the mentality. Of course, one is having the mentality of a winner, right?
Mm,
So having the mentality that says, I'm going to do everything that it takes to win. I would rather die on this pitch than lose today. So that is one. There is also the mentality of I can do this.
Mm,
There is the mentality of believing in yourself, the superiority complex. I think I would rather my players have superiority complex than inferiority complex. I need them to believe that they can do things.
yeah.
So, yeah, so that complex, they don't need to be complex, but if you would be complex, I would rather that you are superiority complex. So, I need them to believe that they can do things. So, you need to know that you can get things done on the pitch, that you're the go-to guy. There is also the teamwork aspect of it, knowing that you may be better than your teammates, but teamwork makes the dream work, right? So there are different aspects to the mentality side of things, but one thing that I would always like players to know is that really the people that are doing great don't have two heads. Oh, there is also the mindset of the people that are doing it in Nigeria. There is a saying that when you say someone doesn't have two heads, it means that they have just one head, just like me. Like you have one head, just like me. So
Mm,
if there is anything that you can do, I can do it too.
mm,
Yeah. So it's nothing makes you more special than I am. So I like players to know that as well. So you just know that the difference between the very best and you is the amount of hours that they probably put into training. So there is that mindset as well. There needs to be the mindset of enjoying pain, enjoying pressure, enjoying training, um, going through it with glee, with joy, knowing that um, preparation is what you need
mm,
to take charge of opportunities. When I talk to players, I usually mention to them Usain Bolt. So Usain Bolt won 16 gold medals at the Olympics. He has 16 gold Olympic medals. I think one was withdrawn, but same old 15. Um, he's a short distance runner. So that means that on average, he runs about about 100 meters, 200 meters in about 10 seconds, 20 seconds. If you calculate all of the time that Usain Bolt has spent running at the Olympics, it will probably not exceed 10, 15 minutes.
mm.
All of the races that he has run at the Olympics, it will probably not exceed 10, 15 minutes. But those 10, 15 minutes are product of hours, years of training behind the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of tough work, a lot of perseverance, a lot of endurance, a lot of probably fainting, a lot of pushing himself beyond the limits
Mm,
of his physical and psychological capabilities. So what everybody sees is those 15 minutes. Nobody sees the years behind. And that's another important part of mentality that is usually ignored. The amount of years, the amount of hours that you have to spend training. You have to keep training. And I tell my players not to train until they get it. I tell them to train until they can't get it. Or I tell them not to like they don't stop when they get it right. They stop when they
mm.
can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that aspect of mentality is I think it is the most underspoken about, is the most ignored. So I think when you have done things to the point that you can't get it wrong anymore, it helps your confidence out there on the pitch or anywhere else that you have to show it.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful message, 100%. Like in my experience, I have like so many players I'm coaching right now, and they play on the highest level in a very young age. But all the like challenges they have is I'm so good at tactical and technical, all these things. But like when it comes to the moment, I'm not here. And like all the abilities they have, they can't show them. And
Mm.
that's the part, like the mentality opens your whole pathways what you can actually. And if you can't open that, it doesn't matter if you have it or not.
Yeah.
Like
It's-
because football is, as you say, is pressure. And like your ability in football to get really success is, can you perform under the pressure? Like
yeah.
nobody would say, oh, you're amazing at training. Like it doesn't matter. It's like,
In fact, very few people watch training. Very few people
yeah,
do. So nobody sees what you can do in training. It's only on the match that they watch you. So if you don't get to do anything during the matches, it's gone. Nothing for you.
yeah, 100%. Nice. Israel, we have like one last question, and it's always the same. If you and me tomorrow will die, which kind of leading advices you would give to the younger generation?
Um, I see leadership as responsibility. That's the primary way I see it. I see it as responsibility and servanthood, right? I am a product of privilege. I know you earlier um you you asked me about the ages that I achieved everything that I've achieved. I I just glossed over it, but I am 26 years. Um, so I am on the business side of things at 26, and I am where I am at 26. There are a lot of other people that I haven't got the privilege that I've got. There are a lot of other people that, in fact, there are a lot of other people that are in the football industry, right? That are players, right? And I get to be given the privilege to make decisions that will affect their lives.
Mm,
Yeah, so I see it as a call to service. I see it as a very, very honorable thing to do. So the first thing that I always tell people is to see leadership as a privilege, see it as a service to people. Don't see it as a place of power. When you get to see it as a privilege, when you get to realize that
mm,
there is very, very little difference between you and those that you're leading, and it's just some certain differences between how you were probably brought up or the circumstances that you were born in that determined the difference between where you are and where they are. You get to realize that there is very, very little that you have that you earned.
mm,
A lot of the things that we have today are products of privilege. So when you get to see things from that angle, I think it gives you a lot more incentive to to be a better person to people, to want to actually serve people, to want to make decisions that impact their lives. So I see leadership as an opportunity to impact, to touch lives. That's the best thing that it is for me. So if you're a leader and you're not serving, I care less about you. So if you don't see that what you have is a product of privilege, I mean, you don't deserve to be a leader. You don't.
mm.